Okay.
Gatorade because I saw that meme today. But that's how I feel. The retrograde, the eclipse, everything. Dude, I had I'm having like these major meltdowns. It's so sad. But I'm laughing because like you get it, so I can laugh right here. But normally I'm just like dying on the inside. I can't even explain it. I
Well, I am at a loss for words into whatever the fuck I'm going through too.
What
Because
is happening?
that's what it is. Honestly, that's what it is that's going on with me right now is the okay, so before the retrograde even started,
Hmm.
okay, it I had already felt the energy that we're in right now 2 weeks prior to that.
Oh, yeah, the shadow. Ooh, it got you.
Yes. So I was already feeling it 2 weeks prior to that. And then that's when I got sick.
Oh, yeah.
Shadow period. That's when I got sick. And I'm telling you, I don't get this sick to the point to where I'm still sick. I'm still dealing with it. I'm still coughing. I'm still dealing with the congestion in my face. Um, to where I was literally down for that one whole weekend because remember we were going to record this a while back already
Yep.
and you were sick and then after that I got sick
Yes.
and then I told you and we were supposed to record even last week too but I told you no because I'm like nobody wants to hear my manly ass voice on
That's
the
how I felt too about myself. Like it was so bad. I didn't for a month, like I didn't sound like myself. It's crazy.
yeah and then it's not even just being sick it's just the like the craziness of what your mind is going through in this process
Yeah.
of this retrograde energy of this knowing that this is a period or this is a month that literally is pushing you to fucking do the inner work
Yeah.
literally go in like my mind block is blocked I have no creativity in terms of what I'm wanting to do, what I'm wanting to build. Last week, I was already literally throwing in the white flag and saying, I'm done with coaching. I'm done with the podcast. I I was done with it. Like as of last week, I was done with it.
Oh shit.
Like
They're
seriously.
like your callings, by the way. So this is not like, yeah. It's just something else going on that's making you
Yeah, and no, it's a lot. To for me, it's a lot, and just to know that we're in this energy again until the 25th of this month, like literally all of April,
yeah, it's horrible.
and not only that, that we had the solar eclipse on Monday, and Aunt Flo decided to visit on Sunday night,
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's
and I'm
horrible.
like, what in the world? Then I'm looking up things, and they're saying, oh, if your cycle is aligned with the moon that means something that's supposed to mean something and it's like a good thing it's not like a bad thing it's more of like you're cleansing you're letting more stuff go and I'm just like I am so tired of this because I've talked to a few other people that I go get Reiki done and other stuff, and go visit or do stuff with when they throw like their sound baths here in our area and all that.
Yes.
And they all told me that I was having a sore throat because I wasn't using my voice.
Hmm.
And like my throat was hurting, like as in it felt like literally I was swallowing and it felt like I was swallowing on sandpaper. It was hurting that bad. I
Oh,
honestly thought I had strep throat. And I
yeah.
and I've never had strep throat, but I tested negative, and I think I told you or something, but because you checked on me and I said no, I don't like I tested negative for it, but
Oh,
they told me it was that I'm sick for a reason because my body is detoxifying a lot of things. That this sickness is happening because of this retrograde, because of the energy we're in, and that I'm supposed to be sick like this for because it's literally my body telling me like it's time to detox, it's time to release a lot of things. It's time to start using your voice, which I know I really haven't been because I've been holding back on a lot of things that just my mind was, getting me to think or whatever, the case is, but I'm fucking over it.
Yeah, for real. It's time. It's been too much.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's just been so much going on. Like, it's too much. Okay, so I want to know what you're doing to take care of yourself because I know that you are a huge advocate for self-care. And even in these hard times, like, I know that you still, do your things. You do at least a little bit of something.
Um, yeah, I am, I feel like I'm doing a lot. Like I'm doing, to be honest with you, I'm listening to my body first and foremost. And the exhaustion that I've been feeling is on another level too. So it's like I don't push myself right now. I don't push myself. If I want to come home and just rest, then I'm resting. Do I get spurs of energy throughout the week or throughout the day? Yeah, of course. But when I feel that energy, I definitely do what I need to do in that moment. Like if I need to do laundry, if I need to go, clean, if I need to do something, then I take that moment. And it's just like we know our bodies, we know our like when we feel like we are capable to do things and we don't want to push ourselves, right?
Yeah, for
So besides, that and making sure I'm getting the rest that you need or that I need, I'm going on my walks. So this month I did put the intention in starting I take a mile walk at my lunchtime at work
nice.
during the day, so I
Oh,
get
that
sunshine.
sunshine.
Yeah, I get that sunshine at the peak of the afternoon, right?
So
And
good.
it's probably like around 12ish in the afternoon when I do go. So I do a mile walk. And then in the evenings, I go on another walk, another mile walk, and that's with my dog. That's our evening walk.
Wow.
Um, Granted, though, even though I haven't been, even though I was sick or I have been sick, I honestly, I haven't been keeping up with the evening walks, but I have been keeping up with the afternoon walks because I have to stay committed to a promise to myself through
Okay.
this process too.
Yeah.
Because, it's just like, it's, it, it's listening to your body, but not overdoing it at the same time. So I know I have to get outside. I know I have to let the sunshine hit me. I know I have to breathe that clear air that's going, on outside. I mean, granted, here in the Central Valley, it's kind of hard because just allergies and stuff are,
Yes. It's so
on point
much.
with that. But and then besides my walks, I'm doing a lot of meditation. I'm doing,
Really?
yeah, I'm doing a lot of meditation, which I've been guided to by many people. That, again, like I've talked to a few people that have gone to get my Reiki done, or just other practitioners around the area, that can kind of, I go to them when I need somebody to tune into me to kind of help me figure out like, okay, what do I really need to do right now?
Mhm.
And they all literally told me your guides, your angels, they're literally telling you that you need to meditate more, you need to get outside more, you need to do the inner work. And then journaling has been another thing too. Journaling and literally releasing what I've been feeling on the inside because I hold a lot of stuff in because I don't want to cause issues with people. Or I also think it's like I'm a Gemini, so it's like I have that other voice in my head telling me like, oh, that person doesn't like you anymore, or oh, that person doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. Maybe because the shift, maybe because there's been a shift that happened within the friendship or within things at work or within my family or whatever. And so it's like my mind literally goes to the negative and goes into that thing of like, no, they don't want to talk to you anymore, so don't even put effort. You did something, Christy, that caused that to happen. So it's just like a lot of that has been going on. So I've been journaling, releasing all of those feelings. A lot of resentment has come up for me, a lot of frustration, anger that I thought I had released already a few months ago. That has definitely come back around. So it's just like it's been a lot of releasing, a lot of feelings, a lot of understanding that shifts happen, it's okay, and not everything's my fault. Like not everything is me, it's just stuff happens, things shift, things change. And for me, change is very hard.
Same. Yeah, it's so hard.
And it's like, and it's just like when change happens, it's like I second guess so many things. I go into my mind a lot, I put it on me, like I did something wrong that caused all that. When I know for a fact that it's not that, but it's hard. So right now, with everything, like that's my main thing that I've been doing is journaling. Basically what I tell my clients, I'm doing the same thing for myself,
Yes, that's the best.
and it's hard, I think, for us, even as coaches or people who hold space for others. It's harder on us, I think,
Mhm.
to have to do that inner work or to push ourselves to do that inner work or to continue pushing ourselves to do all that healing because me, I don't know, for me at least, it always feels like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm okay. But in reality, no, deep down, if I actually sit with myself and think about it, like even right now, my chest is getting heavy just talking about this because I've been isolating myself from everybody and everything for like the last few weeks that nobody knows unless you ask me. Nobody knows unless you check up on me what I'm doing. Like, are you okay, Crissy? Like, I don't get a lot of that. I don't get a lot of people who text me and be like, hey, are you
You're the
doing
one that
okay?
does that. Like you're that person.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm that person for everybody else. So it's just like, I always feel like, no, I'm not going to be a burden to somebody else, or I'm not going to reach out to people and be like, hey, this and this is going on, and this is why I've been MIA. For me to do that, it takes a lot for me to even accept that I am going through it. And do I want people to be there for me? Of course I do, but I don't want to be the one having to reach out to those people
Yeah.
because
That's
then I'm like, if they weren't checking up on me, then that means I wasn't even on their mind.
yeah, or like they're just not realizing because you're always the strong one. Like you're the one that people go to. So they're not realizing that you're going through something. Like
Yeah.
they don't think about it in that way. And
Yeah.
so,
And so that's where like my mind goes. And then it's just more of like I literally start like that's just the energy that I'm in right now. It's like I'm second guessing everybody that's around me. I'm second guessing all the friendships. And I'm like, maybe they're not as close as I thought, or they're not as, not, I wouldn't say convenient, but they're not somebody that I could have leaned on
Mhm.
or can lean on because it's just like it's always me doing the checking in or it's always me doing everything. And it's just like when I stop, that's when I start realizing like, it's like, oh, I kind of start seeing people's true colors, and then that makes me put a wall up against them.
I want to talk to you about the resentment that you were talking about. Like when you start to notice that you're feeling this resentment, you're feeling anger coming up. I know you said a lot about releasing it. Are you like talking to them about it or are you doing internal releasing?
I'm doing internal releasing. I have a very hard time talking to people about, especially the certain, those people that I do feel that towards, because I don't think they care.
Mhm.
Literally, I don't think they care, and I feel like it's me. It's something within me that I have to still work on because it's just it's my feelings. It's my realization of like, oh, this is stuff that I still need to work through that I thought I was over, but obviously I'm not, you know? And so I have a wall up with those people now. And it's different, you know, like for me, it's different now. And I don't reach out to them very much, or I don't talk to them very much. And like, I'll be cordial, I'll be nice and all of that. But I do a lot of the internal stuff. I do a lot of the journaling. I do a lot of like I don't ever, and that's why it's like for me, I have to start using my voice more. You
Yeah.
know, like I have to be able to get to a point to where if I'm telling my client, like you have to have those hard conversations with those people in order to work through this. Like I have to be willing to do the same thing. But for me, I don't, because the way I will come off to people is I can be very bitchy or I can be very rude. And it's not that I'm being rude, it's just I'm being honest and on it, like honest but respectful all at the same time. And then I know it's just like people who don't, it's just easy for them to just let go of things, right? Like things happen and stuff changes and then it's like boom, they're over it within a week or however long, versus me, it takes me a lot longer.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, why do I want to bring up conversations or those feelings that I'm having when I know it's not them, it's me who still needs to work through those feelings or through those emotions that have come up. Does
I
that make
always,
sense?
yeah, totally. It makes sense. I always wonder that too when I have that kind of thing happen, where I'm just like, if I had that confrontation early on and like actually like sat there and really talked it out, would it have helped me get over it quicker? Like, would I not have been holding this grudge for so long? But the reason that I don't talk to people about things is I don't like the confrontation. I hate it. I'm
Right.
always like, I have some weird feeling that I'm always scared like something's gonna happen to somebody, that I'm like, well, if I have a conversation with like a family member and I like tell them off, then what happens if they get sick the next day, or what happens if they're terminally ill, or like something happens and then that's like where we left things and I would feel guilty forever. But then on the other hand, it's like, how can we go through life with these feelings that we're talking about and the resentment that builds and these feelings that we're holding on to? Like, that's not healthy for us.
No, definitely. It's not. And that's the thing. It's like, that's why I said earlier, like, I feel like for us as coaches or people who are in this line of work, like, it's harder for us to push ourselves to get to that point because it's so easy for us to hold that space and tell everybody else, like, go and do this. This is what you need to do. But when it comes to us having to do it, that's when our inner battles like basically come to the forefront and it shows us like, oh, we have to still like we still have stuff that maybe we need to say that we
Yeah.
didn't realize we had to say, you know. And just like you're saying with those conversations of like the feelings that I have right now that have come up during this period of energy in this in this world right now, I've already had these conversations, you know, with these certain people. I've had these conversations already, is the thing.
Okay. So you're not holding it all in, like, yeah,
No, no,
like I
no.
was
It's
just saying.
like those hard conversations happened already, is the thing.
Okay.
And now it's like, now I'm realizing like, hmm, I'm like, I still have stuff that I still need to release.
Ah,
And it's just one of those things to where it's just like now, that's why I say like it's not about this person, it's about me. It's about me still working through those feelings and also understanding that the relationships with those people has changed from that conversation to now.
Mm.
And I think that's where it's like it's come up for me too, is noticing the shift within the relationships with whoever it is and realizing like, oh, that conversation, yeah, it was good. It was a good conversation. But when you see them again, you realize like, mm, energy's off.
Still there. Yeah.
Yeah, energy's off. And then even after that, it's like, it's still off.
Yeah.
And then that's where I'm just like, okay, fall up, and I won't talk to that person very much anymore, and then I have to work through whatever comes up for me, because it's just like, I don't feel like the door is open to even reach out and be like, hey, I feel a certain way, or this and this is coming up. So it's just like, I have to work on it internally, you know?
Have you ever done one of those like cord cutting exercises?
Yes. I've
Like,
done it with I did it with my last, or like in regards to my relationship with my ex.
yeah, because I feel like sometimes too, like for these kinds of situations, it might even help just to be like, okay, like symbolizing like that release and being like,
Mhm.
okay, like this is fully released. And maybe the person isn't completely released from your life, but maybe the role that they took on before that has shifted now. Like that role has been released for them. And it's like, okay, now they have a new role. Like friendships and relationships and even within family, I'm just starting to learn right now like how it evolves as we
Mhm.
evolve.
Mhm.
How as we change. Like as you know, I don't even remember, was it like a month ago now where I went to, I did that family thing recently and I was like texting you because I had this
Mhm.
whole thing happen. And it was just crazy because it's like, okay, I've evolved so much, but this situations, I'm still getting put in these situations. But now I have to show myself like my role in these situations is different than it was.
Mhm.
And just like remembering that it's like I have to release that. I
Yeah,
have to.
it's a mind fuck.
It is.
It's
It
a mind
is.
fuck because it's like you realize, like, when it comes to whether it be work relationships with your coworkers,
Yeah.
whether it be with friendships, whether it be with family, whether it be with an actual partner or somebody that you're with, like, you have to put in the same work. It's like you realize how much energy goes into each relationship you have within your life,
Yeah.
and how sometimes a friendship, it hurts just as much as a relationship.
Yes.
You get that same feeling, of when things shift or when things are different, and it's just like, whoa, like you weren't expecting that. But like, with you and your situation, how do you feel, like, not to turn the mic around and me asking a question, but but how did working through that situation, because I know you guys worked through it, how did that make you feel, knowing that you guys were able to talk through it?
Yeah, you know what? That's such a good point. Like seeing that things have evolved and all of the way that we interact. And so I had a fight with my sister for everybody that's listening. And it was, I mean, it was like a blowout, but it was over the temperature of the thermostat. Like it was, but I think it just was a lot, more than that leading up to it. But anyways, um, it just became a whole thing. Parents got involved. It was a mess. Um, but yeah, it's like so crazy because I started to realize like my role in these fights has to change because I have done the personal development work. Like I have done so much to like change the way that I respond to, like you said, any relationship, And I'm working on that so hard that I was like, hold on, I'm getting dragged back. And both of us, my sister too, we both were just getting dragged back into like our childhood personalities. And both of us spoke about it after, and we were like, it's crazy how you get back in that same environment with all the same people and you completely revert. And you just forget all of this healing that you've done. So it felt so good to take that break for a moment and be like, okay, hold on. Like, I had to, like, in the middle of the fight, I was like, hold on, like, I have evolved past this. Like, what the heck are we doing? Um, and I have to like figure this out. But yeah, so talking about it the next day, talking through it, finding a solution, like it actually felt really good because the old us would have completely ruined the trip. I almost did. I was like looking up flights that night. I was like, how do I get home? Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna leave her here. Like, she won't even have a way to the airport. I'm gonna take the rental car. It was like a whole thing.
And I even think I like fed into that too, because I think I even told you, I'm like, no, hell no, go home. Like,
Yeah, leave. And I mean, like, to be fair, like, I mean, I think that that would have been a good solution to like get myself out of the whole situation because there was a lot going on. There was a lot of, um, it brought up a lot of feelings of unworthiness for me, and it was really hard, the aftermath of the fight. But I'm like, thank goodness we did take a breath and we stopped and we talked it out. And it's funny because both of us at the end of the day, we were both on the same page where we were like, okay, hold on, like I don't really hate you, but for some reason, like all of these childhood things are coming up all of a sudden where I'm acting like a 4-year-old. And that's because that version of me in all those fights that we had over the years never was healed and never learned how to work through this. So we kind of made a little pact, which was cool, of like trying to like figure out like how to work through it and how to help each other through these things in the future. And we'll see if that sticks because like it's family, right?
well,
Family is
yeah,
so
I was
hard.
about to say that. I'm like, oh, with
Yeah.
family, I'm like, you could just only hope for the best, man. But I think that's also, it's just like those are trials and tests that like universe or, like I always say, God sends you to like kind of show you and kind of be like, yo, wait a second here. It's like it was a moment of like, Audrey, how are you going to react to this?
Yeah.
How are you going to do things differently? And it's more of also, in all honesty, since we are the ones in the family who are doing the inner work, we're the ones in the family who are trying to change the generational or break those generational cycles, and so it's like it's up to us to communicate better. It's up to us to try to hold ourselves back from reacting the way that we are used to reacting and showing them like, hey guys, like it doesn't need to be like this anymore, or we could take a step back and take a breather and then come back together and be like, okay, how are we going to work through this? What's the solution to everything? To not, how you said, like you could have almost ruined the trip, but then by taking that breather, everybody giving each other space, like it all came back together, and it was a good trip overall despite that little mishap. But I think if anything, for those who are listening and those who get into situations like that, like think of it this way: those are moments that show where you get to see the growth that you've made, not only within yourself but within everybody within that situation, or with that person that you had a disagreement or something with. Like you get to see the impact of, damn, like you're proud of yourself because you handled it differently, and you're like, I could have gone this route, but no, I stopped myself and I said, hold up, we ain't gonna revert back, we're gonna do things better. So it's just a moment of growth, and to literally, when you're able to work through stuff like that, pat yourself on the back, because that takes a lot to not only realize that, but also get the outcome of it being, still being on a good path rather than, ending the weekend still being pissed off at each other, you know.
Yeah, that was my thought, like, and because you and I were texting a bunch, and that's something that came up while we were texting was like, okay, like that is an option I have, but we know if I just pack up and leave, it's gonna ruin it. It's gonna cause problems with my parents. It's gonna cause problems, and now there's gonna be this fight will be extended for a month or 2 months even. And I know, so we surprised my parents on that trip, which was so cool. And it was like they were besides themselves with so much happiness, like to see us. Like we literally pulled, like snuck up, sat on the back porch, waited to be found, and it was like the cutest thing. And we were like, both of us wanted to leave and just hate on each other. And then we were like, no, like if we leave, it just ruins everything. It ruins all of that. So
Yeah.
like it was like a test from the universe where it was like, you are going to figure out how to like work through this and like be proud of the version that you've been working towards. And it's truly is a step towards being, that next version of yourself where it's like, okay, like you see the evolution in real time.
Yeah. And it also evolves your relationship with your sister and your, like or with your siblings. Like
Yeah.
you guys both realize like, hey, wait a minute, like, we don't want to be this way anymore. We don't want to do things like this anymore. Let's figure out how we can get a better outcome of this. And it turned out better than expected, which is great.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But it feels good. And it's like what you and I were talking about, where it's like, I guess just noticing how much we've changed, but how much you are gonna be faced with those like times. Like you're gonna have these tests come up and learning how to work through it again and learning how to stay what do I want to say? Stay like true to yourself. Stay true to the
Yeah.
person you've evolved into and
Mhm.
like honor her.
That's the hard part, I think,
Yeah.
is realizing like people around you deserve to see and accept you for the you that you are becoming and that you have evolved into. And if you have to go into a space to where it's like you kind of cocoon yourself from who your true self is, and you have to be a certain way because you know that they won't accept you, or they're gonna be like, God, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you act so different now, or why are you doing things, or why are you speaking differently? It's just like, well, get to know the new me,
Hmm.
you know
Back to that new version of yourself. Yeah.
yeah, because it's just like you need to be able to step into every single room that you go into
Yeah.
and be like, bam, I'm here, and you either accept me or bye.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And it's like that gray line between like, a family argument or something like that, where it's like just wanting to leave and be like, okay, is this when I say bye? Is this when I say my next version of myself's not getting honored? Or is this an opportunity for me to step into my next version of myself? Versus like what you were just saying, where it's like, hold on, now did I just step into a room where I'm absolutely not being honored at all as this next version? Like I can't even try to showcase the next version of myself? Then it's an absolute automatic, like bye, see you later, I'm not staying here. um because yeah, I mean it's like we work so hard. Like I've been reflecting a lot on my journey lately and how much like for me a big thing is like been reading a lot of books on stuff or like podcasts, but also like you just said, you're doing the Reiki, you're seeing people, you're going to all kinds of events, you're now you're at the point where you're the one speaking on stages, you're the one hosting a podcast, you're the one doing all these things. And it's like you've worked so damn hard to get where you are. It's like not going away. Like not.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I say, like, even though last week my mind, everything was literally telling me, like, you're done. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. But then it's just like, no, that other part of me that is healed and that is good, but it's just obviously not fully connected with me right now because I'm having to do this inner work, knows better. I know better than to like give up. I know better than it's just like you've done so much work, Christy, within these last 2 to 3 years that no, you are not giving up. You are not going to just step back from everything that you've created. It's just like, yes, you have a mental block right now, but it is okay. And
Yeah.
everything will eventually get realigned and you're going to be fine. But it's
Yeah.
just also like just being aware of the time that you need for yourself to heal or just literally disconnect from the world. And it is okay if you have to do that. You have
Yeah.
to like, and
Yeah.
it's also being self-aware and understanding yourself and your body when you need to do that.
Mhm.
And just accepting that if you have to disappear for literally a whole month, which for me, it feels like I'm going on that, but it's just like, it's okay. Like, I am okay with it. But then it's just like my mind goes into like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? Like, oh, I haven't been showing up. Like, just like earlier this week, I did post in our Voxer chat for the mastermind, like, hey guys, like, I've been MIA. I know, it's just I'm going through my inner work. I'm doing all this and I'll eventually show back up for the calls. But
Yeah.
it's just like, do I have to really say that? No, but I feel like in part yes, because it's just like I know that all of you in that mastermind will support me and will be okay with me taking this time, and you guys are the people that I can go to if I do need anything or if I do need to talk to, because it's just like you guys know how tough it is. You guys know how to do all that inner work and how it could be a shit show sometimes, and that's what I'm in right now. It's just a shit show of of a roller coaster of emotions, and eventually I'll be back on a steady path.
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens. The roller coaster, like seriously, one minute you're fine, and then the next you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I love that you're saying all of this because you're pointing out the fact that healers need healing too, and
Mhm.
coaches need to go through their own journeys still. And I think that personally, in my mind, when I am choosing a coach or I'm going to go through someone's program or something like that, I want that person who's still in it. I want that person who's not lost touch from their own healing journey because
Oh yeah.
they feel it. They know how it feels. And so the fact that you're going through it, I think just makes you even more, relatable because it's like, okay, like she gets it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, even as a coach, like when it comes to working with like my client, like I just got back with working with a client this past Monday. I didn't meet with them last week because again, I was sick and I was still literally, not feeling good. And I told them like this week I don't want to do anything. And that's the thing for me too, is that if I'm not feeling 100% like mentally,
Yeah.
I don't want to work with my client that week because I'm not giving them my full 100%. I'm not fully aligned with myself. I would literally be forcing myself to meet with them. I would have forced myself to have to meet with them last week because I knew, okay, we have our weekly calls scheduled. But then in reality, it's more of like, no, I'm doing a disservice to them if I'm not fully aligned with myself or like fully like able to give them the version of me that I know I can be as a coach. So, just taking that week off last week was good because um I was still recuperating from being sick. And then it's like when I met with them and then again, I went through it last week where again, I said I was done. I was going to call it quits and all that, but then I had my calls on Monday and it's just like I had two breakthroughs again with them. Like I broke them down. And when I break them down or when I get my clients to cry or something or have
Yeah.
some type of emotion, I'm not saying like I truly mean to do that every single call. No, because I don't. But it's like when that happens, it's just like, yes, like
Yeah.
that whatever
Agree.
you brought to them on that call, like it's helping them release something.
Yeah.
And it's just like it made me feel so good because had I not taken that break last week from meeting with them, I wouldn't have been able to rest and be fully 100% for them this week, and I wouldn't have been able to help support them through the breakthrough that we went through and have their little moments of epiphanies and being like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, like, because of this, this is why I do this,
Yeah.
type of thing. So, like, for me, I am always resonating with my clients and always telling them, like, because they're like, how do you, when you work with a coach or you work with people, you think like they're not going through it, or you think like
Yeah.
you're perfectly fine. You have to be, and it's just like, no, and I resonate with my clients all the time, and I literally tell them, like, I'm going through it right now. By working with you, I'm not only healing you, I'm healing myself too.
Yes, it's a group effort. Like you are going through it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just more of like making them realize, like, you're not alone on this journey of healing. You're not alone on a journey of doing refocusing yourself and doing self-care for yourself, because we have to do it as coaches. If anything, we have to do it even more
Yeah.
than our own
Show
clients,
up. Yeah, totally.
or else we won't be able to help you through whatever we're trying to help you through, and it's just like we have to be at the top of our game, and if we're not at the top of our game, it's like, you're just like not there for them, and you're not there for yourself either. You're not listening to your needs, you're not listening to your body, you're not listening to your mind, and you will hit that burnout.
100%. And your clients can see that too. So I feel like if you're not really going through things yourself or kind of taking care of yourself in a way, it's like they can see
Oh,
like that you're not showing up 100% and it doesn't feel authentic, you know?
oh yeah, definitely. And it's just like working with clients, I think it also shows you a part of you that you still need to work on. Like
Mhm.
patience. Me, I have to, if
Yeah.
anything, that's what we're starting to work with clients has shown me, is that I have to be patient with each one of them, because I understand that this client is maybe at step 2 or 3 versus this client is still at step 1, and we haven't even been able to get to step 2 yet,
Yeah.
because again, you can only guide and be of support to your client so much. But if they're not doing that inner work in between those 7 days of the next call, nothing's going to shift. Nothing is going to go to step 2, to step 3, to step 4, because they're not doing the inner work. They're just doing the weekly calls, getting their little breakthroughs or realizing moments. And then, like with me, I'll leave them kind of like homework or something to do for the week.
Mhm.
Not all the time, but it just depends on how the call goes. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those things of like, oh well, I was like, how about, what, maybe you should work on this week, and let me know how you feel, and we'll talk about that the next call, you
Yeah.
know and if they don't do that exercise, or if they don't choose to write that journal prompt or whatever I leave them with, then that's on them. But again, I have to have the patience and understanding that it's not my responsibility to like check up on them all the time and making sure that they're doing it. Like, they have to want to be doing this work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with self-care too. It's like, if you want to change, if you want to work on yourself and be better for yourself, we can be of support for you, but we can't help you do that inner work. We can only help you to a certain extent. But when it comes to you being at home and doing things, that's on you.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly where I'm at in my personal life right now. Like, on my journey is this self-care again. Like, it's so crazy, like how we talked about earlier, how it ebbs and flows all the time. And right now I'm in an ebb. It's like just not happening. I'm like, and night shift is super hard. That's great. But like, I'm also just like, okay, there's got to be time around it. Like, why am I not finding the time? Or it's like, well, I eat, it's a human, behavior. Like I'm eating.
Yeah.
Why am I just not choosing better foods while I'm eating? So I'm like working on that once again because I feel like crap lately. And it comes down to that movement and nutrition. Like those are the basic
Yeah.
blocks right now. And I'm just not But it's exactly what you say. It's like you got to find that time. You have to put in that work, and it doesn't have to be like hours and hours and hours of work, but it does need to happen.
Yeah.
Something.
But it's also, don't put too much pressure on yourself to make that shift
Oh,
happen within a week.
yeah, that's
You
so
know,
true.
like I tell my clients all the time, all I ask you to do, or all you need to think about is you need to be 1% better than the day before.
I love that.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the most pressure that you should be putting on yourself. Do not think that within a month of coaching calls or 4 weeks of coaching calls, you're going to be some new human by the end of the month. Like, no, you choose to start your healing journey. You're choosing to start your healing journey for the rest of your life until God takes you. Like this is never ending work. So I think, like if anything for you, it's don't put that pressure on yourself to have to switch your nutrition
Mhm.
so quickly. Like what are things that you can do is like maybe have a shake instead of having actual breakfast,
Yeah.
or instead of like, take some snacks that you can have at work that are healthy snacks rather than going to the machine and getting like chips and a soda, or going to the break room and, eating a donut or whatever if it was a potluck that day or whatever the case may be. It's also about consumption. Like, okay, they have a potluck, then I'm gonna have a little scoop of this, a little scoop of that, a little scoop of that. But you're not gonna overpower your plate.
Yeah, with all the junk.
It's all portion control. And I think it's all about like, even with diets, like figuring out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and understanding that, like, if you eat a lot of carbs, the rest of your shift, you're going to be tired as fuck.
Yes, and it's so funny,
You're going to
like,
be draining.
yeah, it's so bad because
So if
eventually you know that.
so it's more of like just shift the perspective of like, okay, well maybe for my work shifts, or on your lunchtime, you're going to have like a salad, or like you're going to have a little bit of salad with chicken and rice instead of whatever else you usually eat.
Yeah, that sounds
you
really good.
know, or go get whatever, again, they're having at the potluck, but portion it,
Yeah, just a little
you
bit.
know, that's it. Cause you can eat whatever you want in life. It's just all about the portions that you have, I think.
I feel like that's so true. It's like that's the thing is, we're gonna feel our best when we're taking care of ourselves, and then we're gonna be able to do the work even more and have even more breakthroughs and just live life on such a even better level. But it's putting in the work to do that, and it's shifting the mindset and doing all of those parts.
Yeah, it's like drinking a little bit more water throughout the night, but I understand like for you working nights, it's just like it's the total opposite of having to get yourself into some type of routine, because then you're working like 3 or 4 days on and then you have like 3 days off or something.
No, it's so bad. That's how you would think. Like that's how it kind of should be, I guess. But for mine is like it'll be like one night on and then a day or two off, and then two nights on and like a day or two off. It's so weird the way my
Oh,
cycle.
that is hard.
It's hard because I'm never converted into one side. I'm just living in this purgatory. I feel like a shell of a human. It's so insane. And there are like programs out there and so much that I could probably dive into and do to like create my own like routine for this. But
Hmm.
I'm honestly just in this survival mode where I'm like, I know I'll be going to day shift at some point. I'm first on the list to get moved. So
Yeah,
I'm just like enduring this and just
until
surviving. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, still, that's just hard. But I mean, if anything, I would say like maybe just on the nights that you're working, maybe you just take a bunch of snacks.
Yeah, that's such a
Get
good
like
idea.
fruits or vegetables with, ranch or whatever dipping sauce you like. And then you maybe take protein, and chicken or salmon or whatever you like. And like for me, I like having ground turkey with white rice.
Oh yeah.
ground turkey. So I usually do like a cup of ground turkey and a half a cup of white rice, and then I mix that all in, and and I'll eat that. I'll throw a little sriracha on it, mix it all up, and
Oh my
it's
gosh.
bomb. And that usually fills me up. Like it's good. It's not too heavy. It's not too much, and it's just perfect to get me through. And then, the snacks in between are either some type of fruit, a shake, or some vegetables, or some seeds, like the seeds with the
Ooh,
cranberries and all of that.
yeah,
Especially if you feel like you need to munch on something or snack on something throughout the night to keep you awake, to keep you alert. You want to have those healthy munching snacks
yeah, yeah,
that will give you the energy to keep pushing through the rest of the night shift, rather than maybe the snacks that we want to have, which are chips and all the
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, all the stuff that makes you sleepier. Yeah, and like drinking water. It's so weird. It's like, like when you stay up and you just feel so sick from staying up late at night. It's like
Yes.
that, where then it's like you don't feel like drinking water. You don't feel like eating. You don't feel like anything. But I think exactly what you said. It's like, no, like little, like I could do little increments. Like, okay, just drink like half a cup of water, do another
Mhm.
half later. Like, I think that's what I'm gonna work on because, yeah, I tell you, you just don't feel good at all. And
But
it,
I think it's all, this all resonates into self-care, and realizing, like, when it comes to your self-care journey,
yeah,
it it ties into, do what works best for you.
so true.
Do what you need to do, not only for your body, but for your mind, for your soul. Um, Give yourself the grace that you need to power through, your week, your day, your work shifts, your whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're going through. Like, it's going to be okay at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the cycles of whatever season you're in. You need to understand that it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
but you have to push through the hard. You have to do the inner work. You have to cry, you have to get angry, you have to yell, you have to write the letters, you have to do what you got to do, go to a rage room if you need to,
So cool.
and just let it out, and then just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breathe and just know that it's gonna be okay. And just like you said right now, you have to go through this work crazy whirlwind of a work shift right now, because within a few weeks, maybe a month or so, you're gonna be on a shift that's gonna give you a better routine.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about that routine for my self-care personally. Yeah, but exactly. Tell us what you have coming up. Like, what are your programs? How can people get in with you? How can people work with you?
Um, so you can find me on Instagram with at coping with Crissy. That's my Instagram handle. I do have a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year coaching program that I offer. I also offer emotional release calls, which those are literally, you don't have anybody to vent to, you don't feel like you have anybody to support you. Well, just set up an emotional release call. And even on there, I ask 2 questions. What do you need? Or, do you need support, or do you need guidance from me, or do you just need somebody to listen?
Mm.
And you let me know. And if all you need is somebody to listen, and you just need to vent to somebody, then you can book. I believe I have it set up to where it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and like an hour. And you spend all that time venting however long you need, and that's it. You can hang up on me right after that. I don't need to say anything to you. But if you do want guidance and stuff, then yeah, I'll listen to you and I'll give you some of the guidance. But that's what those emotional release calls are for. It's just quick little check-in calls throughout the week, throughout the month, however you need it.
I love that.
And then I also have my podcast, which is Uplift, Empower, and Transform. Actually, next week I'm hitting a year
Oh my gosh. I'm so
with that
excited.
podcast. So I am also in the process of kind of revamping that one. I'm considering a name change, and and things like that, but that's still all in the works, obviously. But yeah, I mean, that's what I have going on, and that's how, those are the programs, those are the offers that I have. And, if anybody needs anything, anybody needs support, like, please reach out, because we all need it, and you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah, you have such a knack for making people feel supported and seen and heard. Like, it's such a talent. Not everybody can do that. And yeah, you're always one of those people that I always want to call when I'm facing challenges. Like, what would Crissy say? So,
Yeah, I'm like, let's leave them. We
yeah.
don't need, I may give some advice to where it's just like, nah, just go. But then in the end, it's like my brain will turn on and be like, hold up a minute. Don't be telling them to do
Yeah,
that.
let's talk it through. Like, let's figure it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you feel it. I mean, and it's because you're such a relatable person and you understand. So, yeah. So, where can people find those? Just DM you on IG and chat with
Yeah, so I have the link tree on my Instagram, so you can click on there, and then you could set up your calls through there, the discovery calls or the emotional release calls. Just let me know, and we'll talk it out.
you. And I want to ask you before we go for just one self-love or self-care tip. Like, if you could tell somebody just anything that they could go do right now.
Ooh, don't give up.
Ooh, I love that.
Don't give up, because I promise you it's going to get better. I promise you it's going to be okay. And just like I said it already here earlier on the episode, but just remember that God loves you. If you believe in God, if you don't, then, in whatever you believe in, but just know that God loves you. God is always there for you. You have people around you that support you, that love you. And all you have to do is be 1% better than the day before.
So good. Like,
So,
that's going to be like the name of the episode. 1% better. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. And I just can't wait to have you on again, I'm
yeah,
sure.
thank you. No, I love being on here, and anytime. I love to chat with you.
Thank you.